Have you ever opened your eyes at exactly 3:17 a.m.? Not because of a loud noise, not because you needed the bathroom, but just awake, staring at the darkness. And something about that darkness feels off, a little too quiet, a little too heavy, almost like something is watching or waiting. And then that voice in your head, why now? Why always at this time? If this has happened to you, you're not alone. In fact, thousands of people report waking up consistently between 3 and 5 a.m. without any clear reason. It's eerie, it's unsettling, and maybe, just maybe, it's not random at all. Do you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m.? Look at what it means. What if I told you that this hour has been whispered about in every major spiritual tradition, that the universe might be trying to speak to you, but you've been too busy falling back asleep to notice? Stay with me, because once you understand what this hour truly means, you may never look at your sleep the same way again. And if you're curious about unlocking the deeper rhythms of your body, the hidden patterns of your spirit, and how the universe speaks in silence, don't forget to subscribe. This channel isn't about superstition. It's about awakening. Let me tell you how it all started for me. I used to think it was caffeine or stress, or maybe I just needed a better mattress. But it kept happening, 3:24 a.m., 3:41, 3:07. Every single night, my eyes popped open like clockwork. At first, I fought it, pulled the pillow over my head, tried everything, meditation apps, sleep sprays, blackout curtains. Nothing helped, until one night, I stopped resisting. I sat up, lit a candle, and just listened. And in that stillness, I felt it, a presence, a strange calm, and a quiet message whispered into my soul. Are you ready to see what you've been ignoring? Now, this might sound strange, even a bit dramatic. But let's be honest, there are things we feel that science hasn't caught up to yet. Across cultures and continents, ancient knowledge has warned us. This hour is not empty, it's sacred. In traditional Chinese medicine, this exact time between 3 and 5 a.m. is when the lungs are most active. But the lungs aren't just about breathing. They're about release, about grief, about inspiration, and most importantly, they're about life force, your qi. If you wake up during this time consistently, it might be your body's way of saying something inside you needs to be let go. Maybe it's sadness, maybe it's regret, maybe it's something you've buried so deep you've forgotten it even existed. And maybe the universe hasn't. You see, when we sleep, our defenses are down, our ego steps aside. That's when the messages can come through. Dreams, symbols, warnings, or invitations. Between 3 and 5 a.m., the veil between the seen and the unseen is said to be thinnest. In Buddhism, monks rise at these hours to meditate. In Islam, it's the time of tahajjud, the most intimate prayer. In Christianity, some call it the hour of divine visitations. Why? Because the world is silent, and that's when the soul begins to speak. I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but I am here to tell you this. If your body keeps waking you up at the same ungodly hour, it's not a mistake. You're being invited to listen, to realign, to heal. And maybe it's time you stopped ignoring that call. So tonight, when the clock hits 3 a.m. and your eyes flutter open once again, don't reach for your phone. Don't curse your broken sleep. Just breathe. Feel your chest rise and fall. Notice what your heart is saying. And if it feels safe, ask, what do you want me to hear? Because the universe doesn't always speak in thunder. Sometimes it whispers at 3 in the morning, and that's where we begin. If this speaks to your soul, hit that subscribe button. Because in part 2, we're going much deeper into the ancient wisdom hidden in this hour. Stories from the Bible, from Eastern philosophies, from people just like you and me, and what they discovered might just change the way you sleep forever. When I first began to speak publicly about these wake-ups, about this haunting hour between 3 and 5 a.m., people came out of the shadows. Strangers messaged me. I wake up at 3:33 a.m. every night, and I thought I was cursed. It's been happening for years. I just never told anyone. Is something trying to reach me? Let me ask you this. What if it is? Because through every religion, every ancient culture, and even in forbidden folklore, there is something uncanny about this time before the sun rises. Let's begin with the Bible. In the book of Samuel, it says, "Then the Lord called Samuel. Samuel answered, 'Here I am.' But the call came at night, in the stillness, when the boy was half asleep. The voice of God didn't thunder from the sky at noon. It whispered in the darkness. Between the hours of 3 and 5 a.m., there is a stillness, not just in your room, but in the fabric of the world. It's as if time slows and something else moves in its place. In Islam, the same hour is revered as the moment when heaven opens its gates. The prayer known as tahajjud, performed in secret, in solitude, is believed to be the most powerful of all. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Our Lord descends to the lowest heaven in the last third of the night and asks, 'Is there anyone who will ask of me so that I may give to him?'" Imagine that, the Creator descending, searching, asking if anyone is awake. Are you? And in Buddhism, monks rise before dawn, not to chase productivity, but to catch the pulse of the universe while it's pure. They don't speak, they sit in silence because silence is not empty. It's full of answers. In Hinduism, this time is known as Brahma Muhurta, the time of God. Roughly 90 minutes before sunrise, this is believed to be the ideal moment to meditate, to recite sacred mantras, to receive divine insight. Why? Because your body is still. Your mind hasn't yet been corrupted by the noise of the world, and your spirit is open. But let me tell you something even more spine-chilling. In some African spiritual traditions, the pre-dawn hour is considered the time when the ancestors walk. Dreams become portals. Nightmares become warnings. And those who ignore the signs often live to regret it. There's an old West African proverb: "The one who does not listen when the night speaks will stumble when the sun rises." I once spoke with an elderly woman from Ghana. She told me that when her husband died, she began waking at 3:45 every morning. Not once, not twice, every single day. And in her dreams, he came, not to scare her, but to guide her. He told her where the insurance papers were hidden. He told her who she could trust and who to stay away from. He even told her she would marry again, and she did. Was it real? I don't know. But what I do know is this: the veil between worlds is thinner than we think, and between 3 and 5 a.m., it practically disappears. You see, your mind wants logic, but your soul knows the language of symbols, and when your body wakes you at 3:22 a.m., night after night, it is not a glitch, it is a signal, a sacred knock on the door of your consciousness. But most people don't answer. They roll over, they scroll through their phones, they blame the cat. But the ones who listen, their lives change, because the universe doesn't just speak in words, it speaks in patterns, it speaks in intuition, it speaks in stillness. Now, I'm not saying this to spook you. I'm saying it because you're being invited into a deeper relationship with yourself, with your Creator, and with the purpose you've been running from. That's why you wake up. It's not your bladder. It's not the full moon. It's your soul banging on the inside of your ribs, begging you to hear it. So what can you do? If you're serious, if you're truly ready to tune in, here's what I found works, not just from books, but from experience. When you wake up, don't fight it. Instead, tread by this. 1, breathe. Not the shallow panic breath. I mean deep into the belly, in through your nose. Hold it. Release slowly through the mouth. Do this 7 times. 2, sit up. If it's safe, light a candle, or just sit in the dark. Let the stillness wrap around you. Close your eyes, listen, not for noise, but for what your soul is saying. 3, ask. You don't need fancy prayers, just ask, what do I need to know? Then be still. Don't expect a voice, expect a feeling, a vision, a knowing. 4, write. Keep a small notebook next to your bed. Whatever comes to mind, write it down. Dreams, names, words, even if they don't make sense, they will later. 5, thank. Gratitude is the most magnetic force in the universe. Thank the moment, thank your body, thank the presence that woke you, and then go back to sleep if you can. If not, just rest. No phone, no stimulation, just exist in the quiet miracle of now. And if any of this begins to unlock something for you, if the dreams start to shift, if you receive clarity you didn't have before, come back. Tell me. Because this isn't just a video, it's a circle. A fellowship, a community of those who are waking up, not just from sleep, but from slumbering through life. You were not meant to walk blind. You were meant to remember. And sometimes remembering begins at 3 in the morning. Subscribe now so you don't miss part 3. We're going deeper still, into the emotional and physical meanings hidden in these hours, into healing, into transformation, into reclaiming your divine rhythm. Are you ready? Let's step into the light together. So here we are. You've been waking up in the dead of night, Not once, not twice, but again and again. Between 3 and 5 a.m., the sacred hours, you've wondered if it was coincidence, a sleep disorder, just stress. But deep down, something inside you knew it was more. And now, maybe for the first time, you're beginning to see the pattern. The deeper message. This isn't about broken sleep. It's about a broken connection to your breath, your purpose, your soul. You see, in Chinese medicine, the lungs, the organ most active from 3 to 5 a.m., are not just responsible for oxygen. They're the gatekeepers of grief. The lungs are where we store sorrow too heavy to cry out loud. They carry our unspoken regrets, our buried disappointments, our silent prayers. If you've been waking at this time again and again, your soul may be begging you to release what you've held in too long. A lost dream, a relationship that shattered you, a version of yourself you thought you buried. And here's the truth no one tells you. When you refuse to process your pain, your body does it for you. In coughs, in tension, in sleepless nights where the only voice is the echo of what you never said. That's why this hour is sacred. It's not just for prayer, it's not just for mystery. It's a time to finally let go. That's terrifying, isn't it? To let go of who you used to be, to surrender the illusion of control, to open your hands and say to the universe, take what no longer serves me, give me what I no longer fear to receive. Because here's the secret. You don't wake up at 3:33 a.m. because something is wrong. You wake up because something is finally right. Your walls are down, your heart is tender, your soul is listening. And now you're ready. Ready to feel, ready to heal, ready to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat in the dark and didn't feel afraid? When was the last time you used silence as medicine, not punishment? That's what this hour is for. It's not a curse. It's not insomnia. It's an invitation, a whisper from something higher, deeper, older than language itself. Wake up before the sun. Wake up to who you are. And once you do, once you say yes to this sacred time, something begins to shift. Your days feel different. Your heart feels lighter. The noise of the world loses its grip because you have tasted the stillness of the soul. You're no longer surviving. You're remembering. And here's the wildest part. This time, 3 to 5 a.m., is also when your brain naturally releases DMT, the spirit molecule. Yes, science backs this up. The pineal gland, the mystical third eye nestled deep within your brain, is most active in this silent window. It's when your intuition awakens, when your visions are clearest. When you can download answers you've never even asked out loud. That random thought you had at 4:11 a.m., that name that appeared in your mind out of nowhere, that feeling that something is about to change, believe it. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that God doesn't shout. The universe doesn't argue. Spirit doesn't force. They all whisper, and they wait for you to be quiet enough to hear. So when that sacred wake-up comes again, and it will, don't panic. Smile, you're being remembered, you're being summoned, you're being guided. Sit up, breathe deep, feel your lungs expand, not just with air, but with life. Cry if you must, pray if it calls you, or just listen. Because the most powerful guidance doesn't come from outside of you, it comes from within, when you're finally still enough to hear it. This, right here, this is your rebirth. A spiritual returning, not to something new, but to something ancient, to the version of you that has always existed beneath the pain, the shame, the noise, the numbness. And that version of you, it's divine, it's whole, it's ready. So take one last breath with me now. Inhale the present moment. Exhale everything you no longer need. Now, smile, because you didn't just wake up at 3 a.m., you woke up to your soul. This is not the end. This is the beginning. If this journey stirred something deep inside you, subscribe to this channel. Not just to watch more videos, but to walk this path with others who feel it too. Leave a comment, share your story. Let's create a space where the awakened can awaken each other. Because truthfully, the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more souls awake before the sun.